Space has always been the final frontier, vast, untouchable, and overwhelmingly expensive. For most of the last century, it was reserved for only the richest governments, the boldest astronauts, and the most carefully planned missions. Getting to orbit required thousands of people, decades of experience, and billions of dollars. In this environment, innovation was slow. Risk was avoided at all costs. Rockets were custom-built, launched once, and discarded forever. The model was unsustainable and largely unchanged since the Apollo era. Then, a private company entered the scene, not with small ambitions, but with a vision so audacious it bordered on science fiction. That company was SpaceX, and from the moment it was founded in 2002, it set out not just to improve the space industry, but to reinvent it completely. At the center of SpaceX's story is Elon Musk, a tech entrepreneur best known at the time for co-founding PayPal. But Musk's real dream was never just digital payments. It was Mars. He envisioned a future where humans could live on other planets, and he was willing to stake his fortune to get us there. SpaceX began with a modest team, working out of a small warehouse in El Segundo, California. Their goal: build a simple, low-cost rocket that could reach orbit. The result was the Falcon 1, a two-stage rocket named after the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, a subtle nod to the belief that sci-fi might not be so fictional after all. But building rockets is never simple. Falcon 1 failed not once, not twice, but 3 times. Each failure was catastrophic. Investors grew skeptical. The company was nearly bankrupt. Musk, facing collapse, poured in his last personal funds, enough for one more launch. That 4th flight succeeded. In September 2008, Falcon 1 reached orbit, the first privately developed liquid-fueled rocket ever to do so. That moment didn't just save the company. It changed the trajectory of the entire space industry. Emboldened by that victory, SpaceX scaled up quickly. The company unveiled the Falcon 9, a much larger rocket designed to carry heavier payloads into space. But it wasn't just size that made Falcon 9 revolutionary. It was reusability. Traditionally, rockets were one-time use vehicles. The boosters, those massive, multi-million-dollar engines, were jettisoned into the ocean, never to be seen again. It was like throwing away a commercial airliner after every flight. SpaceX challenged that norm. From the very beginning, Falcon 9 was built with reusability in mind. The first successful booster landing came in 2015, a moment many had deemed impossible. A 14-story rocket stage detached from space fell back through Earth's atmosphere, reignited its engines, and landed upright on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. For the first time in history, a rocket could be flown, recovered, and reused, not in theory, but in practice. This breakthrough wasn't just symbolic. It was economic. A single Falcon 9 launch now costs as little as $67 million, a fraction of the price tag for a traditional expendable rocket. And with boosters flying up to 20 times, those costs are dropping even further. SpaceX has made launches faster, cheaper, and more routine, treating spaceflight more like air travel than an experimental feat. The result? A massive ripple effect through the entire aerospace industry. Legacy companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin, long shielded by government contracts, were forced to rethink their approach. National agencies from Europe to India to Japan began accelerating innovation just to keep up. SpaceX had broken the monopoly and opened a new space economy. SpaceX's ambitions didn't stop at launching satellites. In 2012, its Dragon spacecraft became the first commercial vehicle to dock with the International Space Station. And in May 2020, SpaceX made history again. launching NASA astronauts into orbit aboard the Crew Dragon capsule. It was the first time humans had been launched from U.S. soil in nearly a decade. But it was also the first time a private company, not a government, had taken humans into space. Crew Dragon wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a signal that the rules had changed. The barriers to space weren't gone, but they were no longer reserved for a handful of nations. A new era had begun, where private industry wasn't just supporting exploration, it was leading it. And then came Starlink, a bold project that few imagined possible. The goal? Launch tens of thousands of small satellites into low Earth orbit to create a global internet network, delivering high-speed connectivity to even the most remote regions of the world. Starlink is now the largest satellite constellation in history. Every month, dozens more satellites are launched aboard Falcon 9 rockets. The pace is staggering, and so is the ambition. For SpaceX, Starlink isn't just about profit. It's about building infrastructure, not on Earth, but around it. The success of Starlink is helping to fund the company's most audacious project yet, the rocket that could take us to another world. That project is Starship. Towering over 120 meters high, Starship is the most powerful rocket ever built and the most ambitious. Designed to carry over 100 tons to orbit and eventually 100 people to Mars, it is the cornerstone of Musk's long-held dream of making humanity a multi-planetary species. Unlike anything before it, Starship is intended to be fully reusable from booster to upper stage. It's made of stainless steel, assembled rapidly, and tested in the open. Failures are expected, even embraced, as part of a rapid design process unlike anything in traditional aerospace. Test after test, iteration after iteration, the vehicle is becoming more capable. Already, NASA has selected a version of Starship to serve as the lunar lander for its Artemis program, a mission that will return astronauts to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. SpaceX has done more than disrupt the launch business. It has globalized access to space. Thanks to its low prices and frequent launches, SpaceX now offers rideshare missions that allow small startups, universities, and even individuals to send payloads to space. Countries without their own launch systems can now operate satellites. High school students can design experiments in orbit. The result is an explosion of creativity and opportunity, a new ecosystem where space is no longer exclusive, but accessible. And on the horizon lies the boldest chapter yet. SpaceX is not content with orbit. The company is planning missions to the moon, to Mars, and beyond. The goal is not to plant a flag, but to build a future, one where human beings live and thrive on more than one planet. It is a vision driven by urgency, the understanding that Earth is vulnerable, and that our long-term survival depends on becoming a spacefaring civilization. It is also a vision rooted in optimism, in the belief that we are capable of achieving the impossible if we dare to try. Final scene, Starship silhouetted against the Earth. Fade to black. Narrator. In less than 2 decades, SpaceX has gone from an underfunded startup to the most influential aerospace company on Earth. It has cut launch costs, redefined technology, flown astronauts, built satellites, and begun testing the ships that may one day carry us to other worlds. It has not only changed the way we go to space, it has changed what we expect from it. SpaceX has turned the impossible into the routine and the distant dream into a near-future reality. The space industry will never return to what it once was.